So I'm here with Wayne Stazza, Stazza as we called him. We called you Wayne. You came from North Adelaide via Broadview?
Broadview, yes.
And so what was the difference when you came out here? Number one.
Broadview was a great club and really, I felt like I was part of a footy club there. Yeah. But I never did at North Adelaide, but I did as soon as I came here. As soon as I walked through the door, Eddie Holland, the 12 guys in the bar on a Sunday morning.
Perfect.
They all just turned around and stared at me in deathly silence. And Eddie Holland came over and shook my hand and said, "Welcome to the club, mate." And I've felt a part of the club ever since and still to this day.
Excellent. So you moved out here, obviously. That's the reason.
Yeah. I lived out here for the first year. I still played at Broadview because I was committed to them.
You worked in town too. You worked in town too.
I worked in town. I worked in town all my life. Yeah, but. The first year I lived out here, there was a little bloke called Palazzari, little short guy. He kept knocking on my door because he said I looked like a footballer. He kept knocking on my door and saying, "Can you come out and play football?"
And how wrong was he?
Oh, well, he played at Broadview, mate. But eventually, he got me. He wore me down, and I came out and played football, and I've enjoyed it ever since. I've enjoyed the whole town ever since.
So, what do you think the difference was from coming from Broadview to Two Wells? The community aspect of it, or the actual football? Or?
Well, no, I don't want to sound like Broadview. Broadview was a very friendly and social club, but this one was closer to home. So, can't say we're any better here than Broadview, but it was always a very welcoming club here, and the best move I've ever made to come out here to play.
Perfect. Now, in 1981, the year we're talking of, the year we're all here for, I reckon you started up forward. Or on the ball, we used you as an on-baller.
No, I think I was pretty much full back most of the time.
No, that's incorrect. I played full back.
Oh, did you?
Hang on, we'll just say I played full back.
Yeah.
I think you played a bit in the ruck.
Because the year before, when we were no good, in 1980.
Beaten, remember?
In 1980, a Broadview bloke came out with me called Charlie Wintle.
Oh, yes.
And he said to the coach one day, "For God's sake, mate, will you put Staz in the ruck so we can get a bit of service?" And I'm not big enough to be a ruckman, but I could jump and I could palm the ball. And this guy, Charlie, I palmed the ball to him if he wants. So I did play a little bit in the ruck in 80, and I played a bit in 81 too. But guys like Gamo and Walsh around, how am I going to play in the ruck?
Well, Walsh was pretty average, so I wasn't
pretty average,
Gamo was the mainstay of our ruck. Now in 81, you played at full-back on arguably probably the best full forward in the competition. Paul Crothers, Whale, as he later been known. He kicked 6, I think.
Well, so they tell me. I couldn't have told you how many he kicked. I wouldn't have known. I know he kicked a couple late when it was getting close, and I was getting very nervous. I was getting very twitchy.
Well, we were all getting nervous.
Yeah, well, I was very nervous because I was on the guy that had just kicked a couple of goals. He probably did kick 6 on the day, I can't argue with that, but I was very nervous.
What do you remember about the day? What's your best memories of the day?
My best memories are David Stoddard's ute. He had an old full ute. He painted it in red and white stripes, and he said, "No worries, fellas, it's only water painted, it'll all wash off." Well, that's until he got the ute hot and it all baked on, and I think the ute stayed red and white for the rest of its life. But I don't know whatever happened to it. I thought it might have made an appearance today, actually, but obviously it's dead and buried somewhere.
Stoddard's hat still made an appearance today, so...
I think that hat, he wore the same hat that day, I'm pretty sure.
Very good. Excellent. Well...
and I do remember a lot about the after party too. Sorry to interrupt, Philip. The after party, the tiger hanging over the main street, and the Port Wakefield Road here was the main street back in those days.
And you went for a pub crawl on Monday?
Pub crawl.
So you don't remember a lot about the game, but you remember about the after party and the
everything
pub crawl.
About the celebrations. We called in. We didn't do every pub in Gawler, we did quite a few, and the order was 17 schooners and 1 brandy and coke. Wally and Mike couldn't drink a bloody beer, so he had to have a brandy and coke. And at the end of the pub crawl, because all the pubs had closed by then, we went to Gawler Dogs. And embarrassed the crap out of Eddie Holland.
Perfect. All right, well, thanks very much. It's been a good 5 minutes spent with you, Wayne. Cheers.
Too big.